Pain being able to successfully defeat and completely destroy the Leaf Village by himself is a testament to how strong he is. While the Leaf was missing some key people like Guy, Naruto, and the late Jiraiya, it is still very impressive. In comparison, Orochimaru needed the help of the Sand Village and his own small village to attack the Leaf, and didn't even achieve the same amount of destruction as Pain. What's even more impressive is that after he was done with the Leaf, he made it a crater with only one jutsu. This makes me wonder how the three Akatsuki duos do if they had the same task as Pain. Could any of them even capture Naruto? By the way, I'd like to shout out Death Reaper for suggesting I make this video. He's one of my most loyal subscribers and we often have very good discussions in the comments of all my videos. Of course, this scenario doesn't make sense plot-wise, but we'll make it make sense. In my versus battle what if hybrid series, I do things like this often, such as how each Akatsuki member performs against Gaara in the Sand Village. As for the plot, we'll forget about that and just bend it to our liking. We'll say that each duo killed Jiraiya instead of Pain, leaving the Leaf with some basic intel on their abilities. The duo's win condition is just capture Naruto while creating as much destruction as possible. Pain will order them to attack the Leaf as a distraction for them to interrogate Leaf Shinobi on Naruto's whereabouts. If they discover Naruto is not there, they will continue to destroy the Leaf until it is not capable for them to do any more damage. First I'll talk about Kakuzu and Hidan. Kakuzu and Hidan's strategy will be Kakuzu's mask working along with Hidan to destroy buildings and kill Leaf Shinobi. Kakuzu will interrogate Shinobi and suffocate those that won't talk. The attack will begin and Tsunade will send a messenger toad for Naruto to come back. Danzo will kill this messenger, delaying Naruto's arrival. While Tsunade summons and assists Katsuyu in healing the wounded, Kakashi confronts Kakuzu. Hidan and Kakuzu's mask are able to create a lot of carnage, with only the Anbu being able to slow them down. Kakuzu would have had a taijutsu scuffle with Kakashi until Choji and Choza would try to crush him. He was able to overpower Choji in the original timeline easy, and briefly held up the Two Tails, so this attack isn't a problem for him. However, due to being greatly outnumbered here, he would decide to call back two of his masks. This would leave Hidan a little more vulnerable, but it is necessary. His fire and wind mask would re-enter his body, making him very dangerous to approach. Kakuzu would use Scorch Release to attempt to take out his opponents, and Kakashi's water style would not work here. While this battle rages on, Hidan's would become even more difficult. Anbu members will have figured out his immortality by now, and he'd be fighting a losing battle with two of Kakuzu's masks. Kakuzu would be beginning to win his though, until Naruto would be reverse summoned in the middle of the village. Kakuzu would sense by the giant toads that he needs to bring back his two other hearts too. Hidan falls on confused and reunites with Kakuzu before Naruto arrives on the scene. I don't really need to explain why this is a losing fight for the zombie duo here. Kakuzu lost to Naruto without Sage Mode, so with it he can easily use it and throw a Rasen Shuriken to take him out. As for Hidan, his immortality will have already been discovered. He's left with basically the entire Leaf Village to take out, which is simply not possible for him. These two failed to capture Naruto, but create a good amount of destruction with Kakuzu's mask. The next duo is the Artist duo. The Leaf will know that Deidara is a long-range explosives type, and that Sasori is a puppet master that uses poison. Their strategy will be similar to the zombie duos. Deidara will bring extra clay in order to assault the village, while Sasori threatens to poison people if they don't tell him where Naruto is. This won't work as Leaf Shinobi will not betray Naruto just like in the original timeline. Threatening them with a poison that takes 3 agonizing days to kill you would be a good interrogation tactic though. He'll be cautiously approached by Kakashi, who would try to more long-range attacks against a poison user. As for Deidara, no one in the village will be able to challenge him in the air. Sai is on a mission, so no one in the Leaf can close the distance that Deidara creates in the C2 Dragon. Choji and Choza can grow of course, but Deidara is too fast and he could extend his range even farther if need be. All the Leaf can do is use Earth Style to try to tank Deidara's explosions. Kakashi would be relieved to see Choji, Choza, and many other Jonin to come help him. This would force Sasori to summon the third Kazekage in order to use his Iron Sand. A fight would ensue, and Choji and Choza would be poisoned due to being cut by the Iron Sand. The Inuzuka clan would join this fight, but Kakashi would try to be very cautious when attacking Sasori. Nothing would be able to get past his ultimate defense, and he would take almost everyone out except for Kakashi. Losing patience, Sasori would use his 100 Puppet Jutsu to finish his opponents off and help destroy the Leaf Village. Kakashi and the others are overwhelmed and also get poisoned. You may say that Kakashi could use Kamui, but that's a highly situational jutsu for Kakashi. He never tried to use it on the Diva Path or anything because it's easy to dodge and difficult to control. The only reason why Deidara struggled with it was because he kept at constant speed while flying away from Naruto and Kakashi. This allowed for Kakashi to predict his movements, but as with Sasori, he could move out of the way potentially because he'd be on guard. He could also use his Iron Sand as a counterattack to disrupt Kakashi's concentration. All in all, Kakashi doesn't use Kamui here for the same reason he didn't on the Diva Path. When Sasori finishes with Kakashi, Naruto will arrive in the village, drawing both Sasori and Data's attention. All the remaining shinobi of the Leaf would follow, and a standoff would occur. It would be Data and Sasori versus Naruto, his Toads, the Aburame clan, and several other Jonin and Anbu Black Ops. The artist duo's game plan would be to poison Naruto, and then before 3 days are up, he would receive the antidote. Chiyo showed that she has the capability to form antidotes when she tried to make one for Sasori's, so I imagine Sasori can make one for his own. This is headcanon, but I'm sure he could do it if he manufactured the poison himself. First, Sasori will engage by using his remaining 100 puppets to attack Naruto. Naruto will lead the charge here, but many of the Jonin and Anbu here will get poisoned due to being overwhelmed. At this point, Naruto would sense that he is the only one currently available to fight these two, and order his remaining allies to take the poison to the hospital. At this point, all of the civilians will have been evacuated, and the assault on the Leaf will have ended. This allows Tsunade to stop aiding Katsuyu and actually join the fight. She knows that everyone poisoned is not in life-threatening danger yet, so she allows Sakura to work on an antidote. She also lets the Aburame clan use their bugs to nullify the poison in those that have it the worst. By the time she arrives to aid Naruto, everyone will have retreated except for him. This leaves Sasori and Data versus Tsunade, Naruto, and his Toads. Sasori will focus on poisoning Naruto, while Data focuses on taking out the other opponents. The large Toad summons will use their jumping ability to close the distance with Data, but they won't be able to. Data is able to evade Gaara's sand coming from all directions, so these Toads' telegraphed jumps won't be able to hit him. They can use Water Style to hit his explosions though, in order to avoid getting hit by them. They'll be able to zone out Data and get him away from Naruto, leaving Sasori with Naruto and Tsunade. While Data is slowly being zoned out, Sasori will battle Naruto and Tsunade. I imagine that since Sakura with Chiyo's help was able to only be poisoned once, then Tsunade will be safe here. Sasori does better as the fight goes on though, since his poison is a one-shot. If the battle were to drag really long, then Tsunade would likely be poisoned in my opinion. As for Naruto, his Sage Mode saves him here. It gives him danger sensing and improved speed, so dodging attacks should be easy. In the war, he was able to even dodge the third Raikage in Sage Mode, so the third Kazekage puppet, Nora's Iron Sand, will be fast enough to get Naruto. Basically, Sage Mode Naruto is much faster and has better reaction abilities than Chiyo and Sakura, so he will not have to worry here. Both Naruto and Tsunade could destroy the third Kazekage puppet in one punch, but Sasori could survive a hit if he was in the Tsuruku shell. He'd be able to jump out of it just like how he did again when Sakura destroyed it. So Sasori's Iron Sand isn't doing much here, unless the battle drags on and his opponent's fighting to make a mistake. Can Tsunade and Naruto finish the battle in a timely fashion though? Naruto's Shadow Clones would be useful distractions here, and allow for an opening to be made. He can also use the Rasen Shuriken to potentially destroy the Iron Sand. It's hard to determine how strong this form of magnet release is, but we can look at Gaara's weaker form of it. Even his basic sand was able to block Data's C3, but he used way more than what Sasori is capable of using. It's too hard to determine if the Rasen Shuriken can get past the Iron Sand, but it doesn't matter. Naruto's Shadow Clones will close the distance from him and Tsunade, and one way or another, Sasori is losing. He'd lose to a Rasen Shuriken or a punch. I've already established that Naruto and Tsunade are fast enough to evade his attacks, so his loss is inevitable. Chances are a surprise Rasen Shuriken takes him out. While that battle is wrapping up, so will Data's. He will have done significant damage to the Toads, but they will show no signs of going away at this rate. Pain instructed him to destroy the Leaf Village if Naruto is not there, so he prepared a C3 in case that did happen. Data would fly to the outskirts of the village and feel confident he is far away from Naruto. He would drop his C3, causing the Toad summons to unsummon themselves. Half of the Leaf Village would be destroyed in a similar fashion to how Pain destroyed it. Tsunade's slugs aided with her chakra will save many lives, but this will take a toll on Tsunade just like it did originally. She'll have exhausted all of her chakra and no longer be able to fight. This leaves Naruto as the final protector of the Leaf. He'll confront Data, but Data will be low on detonating clay. He can't use C3 or C4 on Naruto, since this would kill him. His C2 explosives are strong enough to blow off Heavy Sasuke's Curse Mark wing, but Sage Mode Naruto is much stronger than Sasuke, so these explosives won't be that effective, especially since he doesn't have that many left. Monpa's tongues will threaten to wrap around Data's C2 dragon, and Naruto can use the Shadow Clone ladder to close the distance too. Data doesn't have enough here to win, so either he will retreat or eventually be taken down. Sasori and Data will have destroyed perhaps 75% of the Leaf, along with incapacitating the majority of the shinobi in the village. They would not be able to capture their sole goal in Naruto, however. So the zombie duo comes up short, and the artist duo gets very close. How does Itachi and Kisame do, though? In this scenario, we will say Itachi is healthy and fully committed to the Akatsuki for the sake of the video. We'll say that the Leaf knows that Itachi is a Genjutsu specialist, and that Kisame uses water style and has a special sword. These two's game plan will be Kisame creating extensive flood damage with his water style, while Itachi uses himself and his clones to interrogate Leaf Shinobi. He'll try to use his Genjutsu on them to trick them into revealing Naruto's location, but it will be hard to find anyone with that information. Only a handful of people know, so he won't be able to find that out in a timely manner, especially since Kakashi will interrupt him by confronting him. They'll briefly fight before Choza, Choji, and other Jonin come support Kakashi. While that engagement is happening, other members of the League will try to take on Kisame. Kisame will take people's chakra before killing them in order to create more water style. Most Leaf Shinobi use fire style, so he can easily counter that with his water style. The Aburame and the Inuzuka clan also don't really challenge him either. I'm sure Kisame can overpower Fang over Fang, and Bugs will be ineffective in water. Kisame will remain unchallenged, but what about Itachi? Of course we know about Itachi and Kakashi's fight in part 1, but now Kakashi has support and a Mangekyo Sharingan. Genjutsu won't work on him here, and Itachi's fire style won't work either, because Kakashi can use water style. He has his taijutsu, but even for Itachi his hands are a little full here. He was able to fight with KCM Naruto some, but he's going to be fighting Kakashi and like 9 other people here. It would be too much time to take out all of them, so he'd have to use his Mangekyo Sharingan. He would use Amaterasu to take out everyone, because they simply can't counter it. Heavy Sasuke wasn't fast enough to dodge Amaterasu, and Itachi was being careful in order to only get his curse mark going. Had Itachi been trying to hit Sasuke directly, he would have gotten him much sooner. None of his competition is on Heavy Sasuke's level speed-wise. You could argue Kakashi has Kamui, but Itachi can use enough Amaterasu that Kakashi runs out of chakra. Even if that's not the case, Itachi can finish the job with taijutsu on Kakashi. Once Itachi is done, he'll interrogate a few more people until Naruto is summoned. Naruto will be drawn towards Kisame and will go towards him. One of Itachi's clones will catch wind of this and inform the real Itachi. This sets up a matchup of Itachi and Kisame versus Sage by Naruto. Kisame will stop with the non-stop destruction, and this will allow Tsunade to finally join the battle. But it will take some time to get there. Meanwhile, Naruto will lead his allies against the Akatsuki duo. They'll fight briefly, and many casualties will occur until everyone else is told to retreat by Naruto. Tsunade will show up right after this, and the real fight will begin. How does this fight conclude, though? Tsunade has 2 bad matchups here. Kisame was able to overpower version 1B, who is physically weaker than her, but not by that much. Even when version 2B ripped a hole in Kisame, he was able to heal through the wound completely, thanks to B's chakra. He didn't even need B's chakra to do that anyway. Kisame is confirmed to already have tailed beast levels of chakra, which is far more than the chakra he absorbed from B in that attack. Ultimately, it will be easy for Kisame to heal through a punch from Tsunade, and he already has a taijutsu advantage on her. Having a sword is a huge plus in close quarters combat that Tsunade can't overcome. As for Itachi, he can whip out Susanoo if he's about to be punched. Tsunade can only manage to crack Madara's ribcage, so if Itachi had his full Susanoo active, he would be fine. Even his ribcage could break the punch pretty well, even if it does get shattered. I doubt it'd really be necessary anyway, since Itachi could spar with KCM Naruto. As for Naruto, he does have some things going for him. If a Rasen Shuriken were to hit Kisame, he would be taken out of the fight most likely. A Hiradora hurt him pretty bad, but this attack may be a little bit more powerful than a Rasen Shuriken. The cellular attacks would be too much though, and would sever his chakra network anyway. As for Itachi, he could fare better than Kisame in that area. At the minimum, his skeletal Susanoo, and at the maximum, his Yata Mirror blocked Kirin pretty well. Kirin isn't far off from a Rasen Shuriken either. A Rasen Shuriken could damage Itachi pretty good, but he could just regenerate his Susanoo back, just like how he did after Kirin. He could also use Amaterasu to destroy the Rasen Shuriken before it hit him. There's also Ma and Pa's Frog Song, but there are ways to counter that. It doesn't work immediately, and this would give the duo a chance to save themselves. Kisame can put himself and Itachi underwater in order to mess up the sound waves of the Genjutsu. He can do this by using his Water Dome Jutsu. There's also Naruto's large toad summons, but they aren't that useful either. Kisame's water attacks are a threat to them, and Susanoo would demolish them. One important thing to bring up is Naruto's nature energy and Samehada. Samehada should actually be fine here. The Preta Path was able to absorb the nature energy in Naruto and even took him out of Sage mode. It was only dangerous to do this when Naruto actively gathered nature energy. I doubt there would be an opportunity to trick Kisame here, so he should be fine. He was able to absorb 6 hails worth of chakra from B, and could even reduce his version 2 state to version 1. I imagine that if Kisame were to get a good hit on Naruto with Samehada, then most of his nature energy would be safely absorbed. It wouldn't be easy to get this opportunity though. Another thing to bring up here is Kisame's water dome. He would hold this until the large toads are destroyed, since they would do well in the water. In this dome, he could let Itachi out while chasing after Naruto. Naruto can't swim as fast as Kisame's fused for him, so Ma and Pa will have to drag him really. There's also the problem that Naruto shouldn't be able to breathe underwater. B was able to, perhaps because of the 8 tails, but his friends in the large raccoon almost died in there. It's possible that he can use the Rasenshuriken to heavily disrupt the water and possibly break the dome. I'm sure if he were to use this, then it would allow him the opening for Ma and Pa to get him out of there. As for Itachi, his Amaterasu won't be used on Naruto because he's not trying to kill him here. His Susanoo, on the other hand, will be useful. It was fast enough to both seal Orochimaru and Naruto before they could even realize what happened. Naruto's danger sensing may allow him to anticipate it, but it'll be very hard to constantly dodge it. Anyway, I've listed about all the factors in this fight, so who has the advantages? Itachi and Kisame have advantages in Taijutsu, and Samehada is a problem for Naruto. Everyone except Naruto have 0 answers for their enemy. Naruto's Rasen Shuriken could take out Kisame, but it wouldn't take Itachi out on the first hit. It'd also be difficult for him to hit, as he does have Amaterasu to destroy it. Surprisingly, both sides counter each other well, but who would win? As the battle would go on, each one of Naruto's allies would be defeated one by one. Even if he were able to defeat Kisame with the Rasen Shuriken, Itachi still stands in the way. His Susanoo would be too powerful and fast for Naruto. He'd eventually grab him, and he would beat him on the ground until he was unconscious. Sage Mode Naruto matched up well with these two, but the fact that there's 2 makes it too much to take on. He's unlucky that Tsunade is a mismatch in this fight. Hinata will never be able to see Naruto get captured, since she won't have a direct sightline on the fight. This won't give Naruto the opportunity to let the Nine Tails take over. Itachi and Kisame would be the only Akatsuki duo successful in capturing Naruto. This video really does show Pain's power compared to the other Akatsuki duos. Hidan and Kakuzu don't do well, Sasori and Deidara get very close, and Itachi and Kisame have to struggle in order to capture Naruto. Pain bit off more than he could chew by inadvertently summoning the Nine Tails. Had he not killed Hinata, he could have captured Naruto while he was pinned. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more videos in the future. Comment something if you have something to say. And thank y'all for watching, and I guess I'll see you next time.